Okay.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Wednesday, January 12th, 2022 work session of the Richmond Community School Board of Trustees. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If we could have the reading of our mission and vision, please.
Richmond Community Schools guides students on pathways of learning to a future of limitless possibilities.
The vision statement of Richmond Community Schools is a community nurturing mind, body, and spirit to prepare students for lives of choice, purpose, and service.
Thank you. Item 2, celebrations. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, Board of Trustees, good evening. Happy New Year to you all and to everyone. This evening, we would like to celebrate our District Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Katie Talbot. Just last weekend and also for the start of this week, Mrs. Talbot was celebrated along with 18, or I should say 17, other very special educators throughout the country. In Indianapolis, Indiana, for a educational summit, followed by, shall I say, a all expense paid experience to the national football contest that was played a few nights ago, but more importantly, of the educational summit that she attended in the professional development she received, she'll be able to bring to the Richmond community. And so, without further ado, we're going to ask that Mrs. Talbot come up to the podium, share her experience, and more importantly, share her celebrations. Talbot.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, yes, the experience that Dr. Wright just summarized was truly a dream come true. I'm still, hyped up about it. It's actually, the experience is what the state teachers of the year get to go to. They always get to go to the college football championship and do the whole weekend experience wherever it's held. And there's 56 of them because they've even got like Virgin Islands is included. So they were staying at the La Meridian, and they invited other district teachers of the year to apply for this experience, and they chose 18 of us. So I filled out some essay questions and thinking, well, it's worth a shot. And they emailed me and I got it. And I'm from a big football family, and you guys know my dad was Coach Bryant, and so I did take my husband though, so because I could also bring a +1. So
Your dad looked sad the other day in his car when I passed him.
Well, I realized I could invite him up for some of the daytime stuff, so I did that. I invited him for the day on Monday, and it was packed down there. So I just was going to summarize some of the things that they allowed us to do. Of course, it was 4-night stay at Hampton Inn, which was down the street from the state teachers of the year. So I felt like I was with celebrities. They were amazing people. And the first night was Friday night. They had a welcome party at the Arts Garden in Indianapolis. And Jason and I went to that. And there was a band, and there was art displayed, and food, and it was all free to us. And the speakers included Dr. Katie Jenner, the Secretary of Education, and she told a lot of facts about Indiana. And of course, I'm sitting there recording her because I teach 4th grade, and I'm like, I have to show this to the kids. And I saw her on the stairs later, and I said, I loved your facts. And she grabs both of my hands and says, come find me and talk to me later this weekend, and I was like, oh my goodness. So, but she was very personable. And then on Saturday, we did the Extra Yard for Teachers Summit. And that started with various speakers. One included Rachel Lindsay from The Bachelorette. I don't know if there were any Bachelorette fans, but she's also a teacher, so that's why she was there. Hope and Wade King are very inspirational. They were there. the 2020 National Teacher of the Year, Tabitha Rosebroy, and she was the first preschool National Teacher of the Year. So she was very awesome to listen to. And then the 2021 National Teacher of the Year, Juliana Urtubey, and she was from Nevada, and she had some really good stories too. And then, of course, Dr. Wright and Don Sonsini were there, and we got a picture with Dr. Jenner. So that was really exciting. And there were some breakout sessions where I learned a few different things about the classroom and lots of great things to bring back. And then there was a dinner at the NCAA Hall of Champions. So that was really awesome. I talked to the 2013 Indiana State Teacher of the Year, and it was funny because I told her about my experience, and she said, I was telling them that they needed to do something like this. She said, I was just one person and I had to go around and do all these speeches, but I'm an art teacher. So they wanted me to talk about literacy. And I said, well, there's somebody else in Indiana that's better at literacy than me. So she was really excited that they tried to do something like this. So hopefully it continues. And then Sunday we did the extra yard for teachers 5K. And Dr. Miguel Cardona was there, the United States Secretary of Education. And he was there the previous day too at the extra yard for teachers summit. So he got a picture with us there, and that was really cool. And he was also at the 5K cheering us on. And then we had the night at the museum, Taste of Indianapolis. So that was really fun. And then we did a practice to hold the banners because we were the ones holding the banners. We thought we were going to hold the flag, but they said, no, you get to hold the banners. So everybody was really excited. So you have to practice it a lot. And so we were there for 3 hours practicing and what we do with the kids, so I had a lot to talk to the kids about. This is why we practice things, because it's on TV and everybody's watching. So, but yeah, so I came back excited and on fire and ready to pay it forward because other educators need to feel like this. It's been a hard year, and that was a truly refreshing weekend. Being able to go to the game, talking to other educators, it was just truly amazing. And all the other 17 were so excited, just like I was. Like, I can't believe they're treating us like this. This is so amazing, And everybody appreciates educators, but it would just be really cool to get something going around here. I was talking to Lucci, and she's our art teacher, but she does the Festival of Trees and the Depot. And I knew she would hop on it. And she was like, yeah, we should do an event and, invite all the teachers and get bands and food trucks. And so we're thinking about coming up with a committee to do something like that. So whatever we need to do to get approval for celebrating more teachers, because it's important that they feel special as well. So
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing all of that with us.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Well, it was fun to live it vicariously through you. I feel like I was there.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the things that Mrs. Talbot had mentioned, as she just stated, is that other teachers should have the opportunity to experience at least that feeling, that rush of appreciation
Right.
that she and so many other educators this past weekend were able to enjoy. And so, Ms. Talbot, be careful what you ask for, because I think you definitely would be sitting very high atop the committee that you just referenced, put that together. But of the connection that Mr. Talbot and Mrs. Sonsini, I had a chance to meet Dr. Jenner, and as Mrs. Talbot mentioned, our state superintendent is very personable. She's alive with energy, and she's a self-starter, if you will, and she has indeed agreed to allow us to host a Get Your Teach On event. And so I know that of what you experienced, we're going to definitely try and bring that right here in Richmond for all of our faculty and staff, so they too can enjoy what you did. But we appreciate you. That spirit. I love what you said a minute ago, paying it forward. That's what it's all about. And so continue to do what you do. We thank you. And I think your speeches are better than your father's ever were back in college. Don't tell Coach I said yes, but no, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Item 3, oath of office. Is this Mr. Cross?
Yes, thank you. I'd ask members Weber and Stevens to please stand. You would please repeat after me. I affirm that I will support
I affirm that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the State of Indiana.
and the State of Indiana.
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
as a member of this governing body.
as a member of this governing body.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I say something?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Ms. Talbot, don't leave. The reason I wanted you to stay, this is a rather emotional time because this is my 7th swearing in as a member of this body. And I go back, these 20 plus years ago to being approached one day, a knock at the door by Miss Talbot's father, Richard Bryant, and Eric Van Vliet, who came to me with a petition for me to run for school board because of an issue that the corporation was facing at that time. Some board members wanted to make an adjustment to athletic participation qualifications and everything else. And having those gentlemen sit in my living room for for a period of time, Richard and Eric just really twisted my arm enough to get me to go ahead and to do that. That's been a long time ago. That was in 1996, to be exact. The house that I lived in is no longer there. So many things. My parents were here on my first swearing in. My former wife was with me, and I remember the tie that I wore. But I still believe in the mission of public education. And every time I see your dad or Eric, I'm remembering that I was here simply because they thought enough of me, or there were enough people who thought enough of me to ask me to run for this position. I'm political to an extent, not necessarily openly in public, and especially in this arena. But one of the things that I want to do as a board member of this body is not just locally, but statewide, to work and bring to awareness of people the issue that some are trying to push, and that is to politicize this seat. And I'm going to get political right now because it is the one actually unadulterated seat, elected position in this state where it is not politically tied. And I think that's one of the beauty of public education, that people can sit and govern and make decisions for their respective corporations without having political ties to say, I owe my seat to a political party, and therefore I've got to make my decisions based upon the beckoning calls of my political party. Although it may be a party of choice that may be pushing the issue, I sit here as a board member thinking that I sit here as an elected person, untied and unassociated with any political party, but as all of the rest of us do, our votes are governed by what we feel is the best interest of our students, our corporation, our community, without having anyone from Washington or Indianapolis, Indiana, tell us how to vote or what to do. It's got to be what is best for every child, everywhere, regardless of their color, regardless of where they come from or anything else. That is going to be my position for this time that I'm sitting in this seat. And I want to thank those people who have voted for me in the past, Richard and Eric, for forcing me to do this, so to speak. But I promise to serve, the best of my ability for every student, every family, and everyone in our community.
Thank you for your service, Aaron. And maybe we could update your picture even? I don't know.
You gotta keep that one.
Can I get a second?
Yes.
I second that.
I mean, who do I need to see about getting an updated photo?
I throw it out every time I can. That picture was taken, Dr. Wright, in my senior year in high school.
When we were still allowed to have facial hair. Yeah. I remember burning that tie. Thanks, Brad.
Yep.
Thank you for your service, sir. And
Thank you.
many more years.
Thank you.
Service, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen. Moving on, item 4, public commentary. It's despicable. We have none. Moving on to item 5, work session. 5.01 is the election of officers. I believe that we will just open that up for nominations, I believe. Or discussion and nominations.
Mr. Go ahead. I was going to nominate the current sitting positions to go forth for another year. That would be John Weber as president, Mr. Slifer as vice president, and Ms. Stoltz as secretary.
I second that motion.
Any other questions or comments?
I think you guys have done a good job for the last year, and I'm
Yes.
looking forward to having you continue.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of the slate provided, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to board meeting dates. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I come before you this evening to ask for approval of item 5.02, the board meeting dates as presented.
I make a motion to approve item 5.02 board meeting dates.
Motion by Kristen Brunton,
I'll second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments? All's in line with our previous calendar for the last several years.
Second and fourth Wednesday.
And
Second and fourth Wednesday. Yeah.
yes.
With a few exceptions, but yeah.
Yes. Not hearing any additional comments. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item 5.03, appointments. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, Board of Trustees, again for item 5.03, the appointments of our school treasurer, deputy treasurer, as well as appointment of our school attorney, and the appointments, board representatives to accept bids, as well as finally the appointment and approval of our school board association representatives, the ISBA, allowing our board to sit as they stand. I ask for your approval as presented there for item 5.03.
I move to approve these appointments as recommended.
Motion by Nicole Stoltz,
Second.
seconded by Aaron Stevens. Any questions or comments? I'll just fill in for the board actual appointees. Jeff Slifer is our redevelopment commission appointee. Keith Mora is our legislative liaison, and Aaron Stevens is our ISBA delegate. Has been so. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Yes, sir.
Member Stevens would be maybe the only one that remembers former board member Stidham quite well, but he always brought a business perspective to this board. And one of the things he always said in a proper context was, don't forget to say thanks for the business. And I think it's appropriate right now for me on behalf of our firm and myself to say thanks for the business, but more importantly, thanks for the trust that your appointment reflects. And that's something that we don't take lightly, even in what is now, I'm beginning my 45th consecutive year in this position. It's been an honor and a pleasure, sometimes more so than others, but overall, I've been very honored and very pleased. So thank you very much.
Follow up, Mr. Cross. It's been my honor and I'm glad you are continuing. All right, moving on to 5.04, approval of existing policies and guidelines. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, Board of Trustees, I come before you to ask for approval of all existing policies and guidelines. It's posted on the Richmond Community School website as well as found, filed as presented.
A motion, we approve 5.04.
Motion by Brad Walton,
Second.
second by Kristen Britton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to the consent items. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, Board of Trustees, I again come before you to ask for approval of consent items 6.01, 6.02, and 6.03, along with the addendum for 6.02 as presented.
On motion, we approve 6.01, 02, and 03.
Motion by Brad Walton,
Second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
President Weber, if you don't mind, the motion that you all just approved and passed did indeed officially welcome into our Richmond Community School family. Mr. Andrew Graber. Mr. Graber is our new principal there at Dennis Middle School. And Mr. Graber has now successfully put in a full week after today with students. And so I know that all the excitement and Mr. Graber, I believe, would love to come up, share with us his experience, and thus far, some of the joys and maybe a few pains that he's had with the transition. As you'll see with Mr. Graber, he has the trophies on the side of his head there, the cauliflower ears, because he is a astute scholar, but also a heck of an athlete. And so, Mr. Maury, you want to definitely go a few rounds with Mr. Graber.
I submit, I'm too old. Too old.
What sports in particular?
Wrestling is, yes, his forte. However, he's, I think, a jack of all trades, master of a few more. But Mr. Graber, if you don't mind just sharing with us what the experience has been like. I know that uprooting yourself as well as your family from there in Northeast Indiana, coming down to
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Thank you, Board of Trustees, just for your service to this community and all that you do that many do not see. And that is so evident in what you were able to put in place. And I just want to give an appreciation to Dr. Wright and your district leadership team and the support, the guidance, and the encouragement provided to me during this time of transition. It's definitely been a whirlwind of last week and a half. I said goodbye to my family 2 weekends ago and came down here getting ready for school, and I wasn't able to get back home this last weekend due to some concerns, health issues wise. But I was able to see my wife and kids this afternoon, so I'm on cloud 9 right now. Super blessed to be here, super excited that way. A little bit about my background. I am coming to you from Elkhart County area is where I'm from. In my past position, I served as the assistant principal at Wawasee Middle School and Wawasee Community Schools. In that role, I served not only as the assistant principal, but also the athletic director, attendance officer, instructional leader number 2, MTSS coordinator, and more recently in our current situation, mask police. So yes, I say that jokingly because I have picked up that role again as a building level principal. Prior to coming to Wawasee, I served as an elementary and middle school educator in Middlebury Community Schools. I was also able to serve in my final years of teaching as a reading interventionist as I worked on my internship for education. Graduated from Ball State University a little over 2 years ago with a degree in educational leadership. It was a tough decision to get into leadership solely for the reason of having to leave the classroom. It's something that I know I have a strong passion for is teaching because of the direct impact I was able to have as a classroom teacher. But one of the things I've noticed, even in my time at Wawasee serving in leadership, and even that you might notice as well serving on the board, is a lot of the actions and the decisions that you make have a more indirect impact on our students, but have the greatest impact on those who make the biggest impact on the students. So that indirect impact has been what drives and motivates me in providing service and support to our teachers, our support staff, and how they can benefit our students. I can say one thing that I'm super excited about, and just that you know a little bit about me, I'm very persistent. I told my staff the first video I had sent out that I'm an in the trenches kind of leader, and that's how I was as a teacher. I'd give my instruction, but then I was in the mud. I was in the mess of it, and I feel like as a leadership perspective, as a classroom teacher, I cannot disregard that same leadership perspective as a leader of a building. And there are certain details that I've noticed in my time with Dennis that there have been some great things put in place. There are some things that we need to improve on. And it doesn't go unnoticed to show that there are some great educators at Dennis, and there is some great history. We have amazing things to celebrate at Dennis this second half of the school year, but also some major things to accomplish in this second half of the school year. And I'm super excited. I feel super blessed. Excited for the opportunity that Dennis has in front of us. We've had a really strong and successful start to the second half of the year. I'm excited for this community and the things that Richmond Community Schools is about, and the community support, and such a rich history that I'm learning more about in my time of just where we've come here, and that excites me. And most importantly, what I'm very excited about is the opportunity that myself and my lovely family have to come here and be a part of something amazing, and to feel supported, to feel a part of just a community that cares about all aspects of education and then the development of youth. And that excites me the most. My wife is very excited as well, as we call this place our home. And I'm excited to learn more about those in the community. And as I continue on in my efforts this second half of the year, I just want to let you know to reach out to me if you have questions, or to stop by the building. There's a good chance that if you stop by and I'm not in my office, I'm either in a classroom or in a hallway. And if you need to find me that way, I'm in the trenches. That's my motto that way. So thank you. And if you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any at this time.
How old are your kiddos?
So my son is Xander. He's 2.5 years old. He is full of energy. He is constantly on the go. He keeps us on our toes, but he's a real joy. He'll probably end up being a wrestler like his dad, because he likes to get in the wrestling pose and try to wrestle me. It doesn't go well for him. So, and then we have our daughter Blake. She is turning 4 months here in the next week. So, and she's starting to sleep through the nights. So, which means she loves her parents very dearly. So we're really appreciative of that. But yes, we're a family of 4 right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight.
It's a full family effort with the Gravers. I know that he's not, he referenced, but his wife is also an educator, elementary school teacher. And once she is ready to return, we definitely want to speak with Mrs. Graver about some potential opportunities here in Richmond Community Schools to come in and do what you all have done so well. So, Mrs. Graver, we appreciate you. Welcome. And as I mentioned to you, full-fledged support through and through. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, nice break. Moving on to action items. Item 7.01, Summer of Learning. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I ask that Mr. Sansi approach the podium for action item 7.01, Summer of Learning.
Good evening. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees accepts the contract for Mr. Matt Miller as presented. Richmond Community Schools has been selected to host the Summer of Learning Conference on July 20th, 2022. This professional development opportunity will offer various sessions on blended learning tools for RCS educators as well as other educators across the state. The keynote speaker will be funded using the Summer of Learning grant awarded to Richmond Community Schools. And this, I believe, is the 8th or 9th year that this conference has been hosted by Richmond. So we are excited that once again, we had some new leadership that applied for the grant, including our e-learning team and Mrs. O'Brien. And so we were super excited to receive word that we had been selected.
Thank you.
I move to approve the Summer of Learning keynote contract.
Motion by Aaron Stevens,
I'll second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Moving on to item 7.02, permission to advertise for RHS flooring bids.
President Weber, trustees, I ask that Mrs. Stout, from her vantage point here, onto the dais. So,
Good evening. Tonight before you is the request for permission to advertise for the RHS flooring project. I apologize. We'll be publishing the required notice to bidder for the project on Friday, January 14th, and again on Friday, January 21st. The bid opening will be held Friday, February 18th, 2022 at 3:00 p.m. here in the administration building. And a recommendation will possibly be made at the February 23rd, 2022 board meeting or the March 9th, 2022 board meeting. It's my recommendation tonight that the Board of School Trustees approves this request to advertise the notice to bidders for the RHS corridor flooring replacements as it's been presented.
Thanks.
I'll move that we approve the permission to advertise the flooring.
Motion by Keith Morrick,
I'll second.
second by Brad Walton. Any questions or comments?
I think the working group has been working on this for a long time, so much appreciated. Glad we're starting to make some progress. I know it's been a long road,
And the board did
floor,
receive
if you will.
the minutes from the working group, as well as the recommendation on the design. So unless there are changes tonight, that is how we will proceed with that information that you received earlier this week.
And which of the two pictures, I guess, we received was
Yeah.
decided on? Because one had a black border around the center R and one did not. Has that been decided yet? Or-
it's the one without the black.
Okay, got it.
Mhm. They trimmed down the side door,
This side.
always without the black.
Got it.
So it's just the plain floor then with none of the packet I saw had like 10 different designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what was sent out with the minutes, there's a plain floor with a black border on the edges.
Mhm.
And then there is one with black around the seal,
Mhm.
and then there's one without black around the seal.
Mhm.
The recommendation is without the black around.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item 7.03, HVAC for Vale, West and Charles.
Okay. Before you tonight is the contract between Richmond Community Schools and Thor Construction. The bid was awarded on December 8th, 2021. And this is for HVAC upgrades and replacements at Vale, Westview, and Charles. We opened these bids on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, and the notice to bidders was published in the Palladium item on October 29th and November 5th. Proof of publication and all bid documents are on file in the tonight. It's my recommendation that we finalize the contract for HVAC services at Vale, Westview, and Charles.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move to approve 7.03, the HVAC for Vale, Westview, and Charles.
Motion by Aaron Stevens,
I'll second.
second by Keith Moore. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to policy review and update. Policy 8.0, or excuse me, item 8.01, policy 4421, weighted grades, first reading.
Mr. President, I move that we move 8.01 policy 4421 weighted grades to second reading.
I'll second Aaron's moving speech.
Motion by Aaron Stevens.
That's
second
very
by
moving,
Keith Moore. Any questions or comments on the weighted grade policy?
Start a new movement.
I'll just add, I think last time, there was a few classes added to Career Center added a few weighted grade classes was the last change we made in the high school manual, but hearing nothing else, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item 8.02, policy 4430, class rank, first reading.
I make a motion that we move 8.02, the policy on class ranking, to second reading.
Motion by Kristen Brunton,
Second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments? Here. I guess I will start. Our current practice does not match our policy, so we need to have some discussion over this policy. I'm not sure what the will of the board is, but
So it does not match this policy, or does not match what it?
we do not follow this policy in practice.
Okay. So do we want to move it? Well, we can move it and
Yeah.
discuss it, break it down from there, but.
I think our areas of deviation in class rank, for the most part, we have gone away from any order of students. So while an individual student can talk to their counselor, and so whereas in past practice 3 or 4 years ago, at least the top kids displayed in the awards area were placed in order of class rank. I think the thought was we did not want to we just kind of reward everyone that achieved that level. We've also no longer publish honor rolls by class rank, which is what we had previously done. And then There's also some question, this policy talks about a valedictorian and a salutatorian. We have gone with a goal GPA, and if that's surpassed, then those people are awarded a valedictorian. We're actually doing, or we need to do what we say we wanted to do.
So what, from what I heard you describe, I didn't see anything out of, because this is saying, like, this, the way it's worded is superintendent ensures that procedures are developed for the computation of grade point averages and the assignment of class rank to implement this policy. So such procedures shall include, I didn't see A, B, or C didn't seem to go against what you described. Or does it? I mean,
I think the line, and I guess this can be interpreted either way, is, you know, in the top paragraph, it talks about students should know the relative academic placement amongst their peers.
mhm.
I mean, I guess
You're feeling like that
they should know.
you interpret that as like, I am fifth, I am third. Okay.
When these students are about who they are, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, we still, I believe we still publish the class rank in the newspaper. I think those pictures are in class rank order.
I believe so.
We have a top 10 award that's provided by the Kiwanis Club based on class rank. I'm not particularly advocating for one way or another. I just think we need to have these a little more in line. So I'd be open to board discussion.
I don't have a super strong opinion, but as I mean, to inform students of their relative academic placement. To me, if I'm in the top 10, that's telling me my relative academic placement. No, I mean, it doesn't say specific academic placement, right?
I think what it's saying is relative to the other
Mhm.
students.
It could be interpreted
So,
to relative to
To
others in
every
your top
each
10.
individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
so one of the problems with not doing it this way is simply that if you are, let's say you're third and you'd like to bump up to second, you know, you don't know who's second and you don't know, you know, it's kind of ambiguous as far as, I think the idea has been to take out the competitive aspect a little more so. And one of the problems in doing such is that some people, academics is their thing. That's what they're competing in. And so therefore, if you're removing that, you're removing their opportunity to compete with the means that they have to compete. They're not athletic necessarily, and they want to compete with academics, and therefore they want to know, okay, who's in 10th, who's in 11th, who's in second, who's, you know. So does that make sense, Keith? I don't know. Yeah. So that would be one reason to reinstate what our policy says we're supposed to be doing and having everybody in order so that you can see, like, okay, how far do I have to go to go up, you know, if I want to be in the top 10, if I want to be in the, you know, top 5 or whatever.
I guess for me, it'd be nice to hear the rationale for why we've gone away from it. But
You know,
I'm not asking for that immediately. I'm guessing.
I'll want to get that answer, absolutely.
Sure.
and currently we have, you know, I know of one student in particular that has 7 AP classes and they're 0 hour and it's not an AP class. And it's actually hurting the grade point average because that class is not a AP class when that student's actually taking 8 classes. And to me, that does not seem right whatsoever. For someone to go above and beyond and actually spend more time in the building
But
and
with
taking a class that person loves, but it's not AP class, and they're actually doing more than someone who's taken 7 AP classes, but
So is
it
that,
actually.
but is that a discussion for this, or would
No,
that be
but-
more of one for the weighted grades
It would be to
conversation?
the weighted too, so, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they kind of,
That's what I was
They go
thinking.
together.
These two, yeah, are pretty.
Because there's
Strongly
also,
connected.
the GPA used to determine if you're a valedictorian is not your overall GPA. It's based on your core classes. So like a PE class wouldn't affect you, or a elective type class.
Really?
And this doesn't really say how the valedictorian is chosen
No.
in this at all. So I guess that was decided, or how was that? Have we always had multiple valedictorians? Was there a time when there were just one and somehow that changed?
Before weighted grades, and I'm speaking of this, and I could be wrong, but before weighted grades, we would often have numerous students with a 4.0 GPA. So they would be tied for number one, and then thus you have multiple valedictorians. When we went to weighted grades to try to continue to reward those students taking strenuous, rigorous coursework, it was determined that a 4.5 core GPA, if you could achieve that, you would be awarded the title of valedictorian. We no longer have salutatorians. So, but now I would guess that we no longer have ties amongst our top students. We would have a clear number one. But I mean, I don't know what the right way is, particularly. I think not having a tie, if I'm number one, I should be valedictorian. And if I'm number two, I should be salutatorian. I think the argument to reward those that have achieved above a certain threshold is also valid. It's kind of up to the board to, determine, I think.
And either way, our policy needs to be in line with our practice. So whatever we decide, it needs to read as such.
Yes.
Because right now, it says that we have a salutatorian and we haven't had one for years. So, yeah.
I guess we can leave Dr. Wright to possibly find us some rationale. I believe the changes came from the high school. Maybe they could provide us a draft of a policy that matches what we do. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I just would like to hear, okay, so if we don't match up with this, what specifically are we doing and why are we doing it that, like what was the reasoning for going away from what we did before? If that has changed, why did it change? And if it's
But I think it spans the whole corporation. So if I'm a third grader at the Star and I make the honor roll, I'm just listed as a Star honor rollee. Where in years past, those lists were in rank order, even in the elementary classes.
The principal's honor roll and the
Principals was like a 4.0 maybe, or
the teacher's
I-
honor
I
roll.
don't
There were
know.
2 levels.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to post it tomorrow. Principal's honor roll is third grade through sixth grade, and then regular honor roll seventh grade through high school. And then we have principal and teacher's honor roll for the middle school.
So there are staggered tiers
Yeah.
in elementary of different levels of honor roll.
And I just think the policy was put in place, as I read it, I mean, and having two students recently go through it, I think the students working that hard deserve to be recognized for the rank they're in, and also have that information readily available so they know what they have to achieve if they're going after certain goals, as to be number one or be top 10. That's my personal preference, but I think the will of the board.
And I can do with our daughter and son. It's nice to know where they are, and if that's how they are competing, and I think it's an equitable thing too. If we're doing, if we're glorifying people in Tiernan Center for their athletic achievements, I think we should be doing the same on the academic front. Showing, who's first, second, third, fourth, not just generalization. Like, these people are all doing well. Great, that's great. But if they're wanting to be number one or two or three, I think we need to encourage that. So,
All right, should we table it or move it to,
Then we already
I think we voted.
or we haven't?
We already-
Still
we
move
haven't-
it to second.
We-
voted.
We have not had the vote yet.
Okay.
We motioned, or motioned and seconded.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move it forward, and we'll.
Move it and modify it in second reading.
That's reasonable. Any additional questions or comments?
Just, our desire is to move it then to second reading and then continue the discussion and then modify it.
All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Business. Item 9.01, return for in-person learning plan. And we need to ask for public commentary. If anyone in the public would like to take this time to say a few words. I do not see any public commentary, so. I'd like to entertain we have to approve it.
We did last time, so.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Okay,
Last time you did.
well, let's do it then.
Are we doing a second round of public commentary each meeting? I know is it supposed to be every 6 months?
And I was gonna ask President Weber and trustees if indeed Mrs. O'Brien, our COVID district resident specialist, if she could chime in and share ideally the revisions that have been made to the return in-person instruction. Anytime we make revisions, we
Okay.
have to bring it back. And so Mrs. O'Brien, if you don't mind there.
So as we indicated at the last board meeting, we're required to review and or update the plan every 6 months. So that'll fall December, June, even if we don't make any changes. But anytime that there's any type of change or update to the plan, it is presented, it's posted on our website, it's presented at the board meeting, and we allow for public commentary to whatever that change is. This time, again, we did the update in December. We're coming back tonight because of the actual change from the CDC. And so this is not actually, although it is a change to the RCS plan, it really is a CDC change. So the CDC is shortening the recommended time for isolation for the public. People with COVID-19 should isolate for 5 days if they are asymptomatic or if their symptoms are resolving without a fever for 24 hours. Follow that by 5 days of wearing a mask. So before we were doing like a 10-day quarantine, now it's 5 days out that you continue to wear a mask for 5 days when you come back. And again, if quarantine is necessary, the CDC is recommending quarantine for 5 days, followed by mask use for additional 5 days.
So our update is to put our return to school policy back in line with the updated.
Because there was a change from and we've done that anytime that there has been a change or an update from the governor, from the Indiana State Health Department, or from the CDC. We've made those adjustments. So our plan was in line with those changes.
And this plan is this plan available on our website? Like if somebody wanted, yeah, that's what I thought. Which that's what was the reason I asked that, because if somebody wanted to see as I'm looking at it, the timeline is right there, the top of the the plan shows, like on the first page, it shows the revisions as they were made in.
We've kept those in there so you
Right.
can, so you can
And I
follow
think
the
that's,
changes.
yeah, I think that's a fantastic because it's very, it's easy to see. Okay, on this day we updated this. Back, it shows back in December 8th. You can scroll back down and see when the governor changed it to say as long as you were masking, you could stay in school. All of those things are in there. I think that's useful.
Mr. Weber?
Yes, sir.
A question maybe for Dr. Wright. I think most of you know that today Indiana, Wayne County went red under the governor's color code. In fact, the entire state's, I think, almost the entire state's red. I think there are 11 or 12 counties that are orange. Have you had any contact from the local health officer yet as to any issues that might have or implications for public schools?
At this particular time, Mr. Stinson, we met with myself and the county superintendent met with Mr. Stinson last week, and she shared that if indeed percentages continue to increase, then we would respond accordingly. But as of right now, there has not been much change to our order of operation.
Well, I think the local health board will be meeting next Thursday, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. If there's anything that's forthcoming, I'm sure, well, Dr. Wright will know because he's on the local health board.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We hope that some of the reports that we're receiving from the medical world, this may plateau and peak and start to drift down the road, hopefully that comes to fruition.
It appears that our positives were down quite a bit from our first week back. Yeah.
There were deaths.
Hmm.
There were deaths.
Well, I don't mean, I mean
Our
in the
local
schools,
numbers.
our local,
School.
yeah, not county-wide, but within the school, yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I think we'll go ahead and vote since we've been doing it. All those in favor are back to a return to in-person learning plan. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Oh,
But I'll make the motion that we passed.
And I'll second.
9.1, return to instruction.
Thank you, Kim.
see, you can't have the discussion before the motion. Throws me off.
These are Rogers rules instead of Robert's rules.
Mr. Rogers rules.
Mr. Bratton, second by Nicole Stoltz. Let's go through and vote again. All those in favor of our return to in-person learning plan, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you for the correction. And moving on to preview about upcoming meeting and events. Dr.
President
Wright.
Weber, trustees, our next meeting will be 2 weeks from today, Wednesday, January 26th. And on that day, we will be back to exercise our responsibilities as a board of governance to continue to press forward our goals. And by that time, I know that we'll be coming out of a board retreat, and so we may have more information to share at that time, but it's 2 weeks from now. And I believe it may also be a time in which we actually go live, and so we'll see. I'll just tease it out as such. Yes.
Exciting. All right. Moving on to item 11, adjournment and bell ringer.
President Weber, trustees, I ask that our communications coordinator, Mrs. Bridget Hazelbaker, come to the podium and share with us all the amazing things that are consistently going on here in Richmond Community Schools. Mrs. Hazelbaker, welcome back, ma'am.
Hi, guys. Just a brief, since we had one break also. Test Remediate students recently received a 9-square game from Corey George and the JDAI group. Dennis Middle School welcomed Mr. Brinkle's new therapy dog named Sarge. RCS Orchestra students performed at the Primex Employee Christmas Gathering. RHS Career Center students had student interviews at Belden. RHS girls basketball team volunteered at the Boys and Girls Club for the annual Christmas shop. Tess, Dennis, and Richmond High School choir students hosted a winter concert for families and friends. And a lot of the little elementary schools had concerts also. St. Paul's Episcopal Church donated gift bags to every Star Elementary School student. And the Crystal Dreams Foundation awarded Richmond High School $1,000 in honor of 1989 Righteous Alum and 2022 Indiana Teacher of the Year, Shrita Hines Ware. We had future Red Devil award winners for December 17th. There were Sarah West from Charles, Marcus Holthouse from Crestdale, Jackson DeStoni from Fairview, Chloe Meinson from Star, London Dock from Vale, Eleanor Betts from Westview, and Trace Moore from Test. And then also Richmond High School students from Mr. Cox's class wrote Christmas cards to employees of Reed Health, thanking them for their service. And then just last Friday, we had another Red Devil Awards. Two of the students weren't able to attend, so they'll be awarded the next game. But this past game, we honored Trey Wright from Charles, Juan Lloyd from Fairview, Clinton Stanton from Star, Jaden Belly from Vale, and Emily Steele from Westview. And the last one is like to recognize the Richmond High School boys and girls bowling teams. They're the new sectional champs, and we're hoping to have them at our next board meeting to celebrate them. Some upcoming events. Monday, there's no school for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. There's also a spelling bee. The district spelling bee will be January 21st at Civic Hall for our little ones. And then also there's going to be a science fair at Crestdale on January 24th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hazel Baker. In addition to what Mrs. Hazel Baker had shared, just as a final reference to the amazingly strong start to semester 2, definitely would like to thank the Board of Trustees, our central office level leadership, our building level leadership, faculty and staff, and amazing stakeholders who collectively have exercised, sacrifice, compromise, and preparation. Winter recess definitely presented a handful of challenges in many different scopes in last semester, as we know, with the pandemic, along with a few other wrinkles and curveballs that were thrown at us as a trustees. We were able to dust ourselves off, get up, and through that humility, self-service, and resiliency, continue to press through. And so I think that we continue to collectively approach what it is that we're doing, and continue to extend grace will be where we need to be. But it has really been a joy, and she may kick me in the back of the head later on for doing so, because I know that she does not want such attention, but quietly and appreciatively, we do indeed welcome back and thank Mrs. Elisa Stewart for her services as our interim chief of human resources. And so, thank you, Mrs. Stewart.
Anyone else for the good of the cause?
I have some.
Mrs. Stoltz?
That, by the way, was my quiet applause, Elisa. No, I would like to acknowledge the passing of one of our teachers just last night. Kim Vincent, former teacher of the year, a colleague of mine as well as a friend, personal friend. I just want to thank her for her service up to the very end. Throughout her illness, she was in the classroom this entire year, up till Friday, and just our prayers go out to her family, and I just will I just wanted to thank her, and we're also praying for Hibbard right now as the students and staff are processing all of that. So don't mean to end on a note. I just want to thank her for her service and acknowledge that.
I think in her serviceable spirit, if those could have been at the Hibbert building today, led by an amazing principal there, Mrs. Loudermilk, along with the tremendous assistance and support, guidance, and leadership of Mrs. Jennifer O'Brien and the team of teachers there at Hibbert, there was just a huge pouring of support, care, and love. On hand were our guidance counselors. On hand were therapeutic pets. On hand were local clergy, along with so many others that retired teachers that came out just to pour a tremendous amount of care and support. And the stories that were shared today, I had to get a chance to serve alongside Mrs. Vincent Long, but through those stories and through the remembrance that taught us by and known her all her life. And
She
so,
was an amazing teacher.
yes,
Yep.
yes. So we definitely appreciative.
Both my children had her. Her son is at the high school right now, and her daughter is the teacher in our district. And so it's a very close RCS family. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.